You're about to feel the difference between wanting a sign and becoming one. It's not subtle. That's not a tease, it's a turning. A clean pivot from the life that begs for louder answers, to the life that carries its own clarity like a lantern no wind can smother. You didn't arrive here by accident. Something precise guided you through 1,000 small choices, past noise, past doubt, until the moment matched your readiness. And now the air changes. The room changes. You change. Not with spectacle, with signal. Listen closely. Confusion is not a moral failure. It's interference. Static layered over a message that was always meant for you. The world taught you to perform certainty while living on a shaky frequency, to collect louder quotes, faster scrolls, bigger promises. And yet the inner weather remains stormy tonight. We cut the storm at the source. We don't chase thunder. We remove the echo. There is a quiet law woven through creation, the pattern where the inside and the outside mirror each other. When your inner tone is fractured, even beautiful moments feel distant. When your inner tone is whole, even ordinary moments become legible. That's the difference between a life spent negotiating with doubt and a life that moves with a steady, merciful yes. You felt glimpses of this. The second before a wise choice appears, not as a sentence to debate, but as a piece you can stand on. The second a tangled thought unknots without argument. The second your chest loosens and the path in front of you stops shouting and starts fitting. Those weren't accidents. They were the truth getting a clear channel. Most people miss it because they sprint past it. They are trained to out, run silence to out, talk the heart to make speed their proof of worth. But speed without alignment is just motion dressed as progress, and progress without truth is just a louder detour. So here's the beautiful reversal. When you carry a clean frequency, reality doesn't overpower you, it recognizes you. The world meets what you truly are broadcasting. Understand this, and your days stop revolving around signs that never land. You stop bargaining with the unseen as if life were a courtroom. You stop demanding fireworks to prove what calm already knows. You become what you were searching for. A sign that walks, a presence that steadies rooms, a clarity that doesn't need applause to exist. If that sounds bold, remember, you have worn many broadcasts, hurry, fear, borrowed opinions, and the world mirrored each one back faithfully. What happens when you wear coherence instead? What happens when your words, your posture, your decisions hum on one note, the note that says, I move from what is true, not from what is loud? This is the promise, not a life without challenges, but a life without waste. No more leaking energy into second guessing. No more decorating confusion with pretty language. Just the gentle authority of knowing what to do next and doing it. Not to impress anyone, not to win a contest. Simply because it is right, and rightness, when you feel it, is irresistible. Stay with me. The door you've been knocking on from the outside, it opens from within, and the handle has been in your hand the whole time. You're not here to force meaning. You're here to let meaning be heard. And once you hear it, you won't need to look for signs in the sky. You'll carry a sky in your chest, and life will answer it. Clarity is not a spotlight that hunts in the dark. It is a dawn that arrives. It does not argue, it reveals. It does not compete, it composes. And when it lands, even the loudest doubts sound like distant traffic, still moving, no longer ruling. What we call being sure is only the surface ripple of something deeper. A harmony reached between intent, conscience, and action. 3 notes, 1 tone. When that tone stabilizes, choices stop wrestling for attention. The right one simply stands up, and you recognize its face. Confusion wears many costumes: urgency, cleverness, borrowed conviction. But its fingerprint is always the same: friction. The mind sprints, the breath shortens, the heart bargains. Clarity has the opposite temperament. It is measured without being slow, firm without being hard, humble without being small. It speaks in the grammar of fit, This belongs here, that belongs later, and some things never belonged at all. No thunder, no theater, only the power of what naturally matches what is true. The path to noise is crowded with decorations, opinions dressed as oracles, trends pretending to be truth. The path to clarity looks plain by comparison because it refuses costume. It does not need to be exciting to be exact. And exactness is mercy. Mercy to your time, mercy to your energy, mercy to the people who depend on the steadiness of your word. Clarity does not crush alternatives. It blesses the one that frees the most integrity with the least harm. Even when it asks for courage, it never asks you to betray yourself to achieve yourself. There is a quiet order braided through creation, an echoing symmetry that shows up in patterns small and vast. When you stand in that order, your life stops feeling like a series of emergencies and begins to read like a sentence, finally punctuated. You don't discard thought, you refine it. You don't abandon feeling, you purify it. Thought without purity becomes manipulation. Feeling without refinement becomes drama. Clarity marries both clean mind, clean heart. So action can be clean as well. Notice how true decisions carry their own calm. Not the numbness of avoidance, the calm of alignment. They may be difficult, but they aren't complicated. They may stretch you, but they don't tear you. You know them, by the way. Excuses dissolve in their presence. Not because someone shouted louder, because the right step no longer needs to win an argument. It only needs your consent. People often mistake volume for certainty. But volume is how noise defends itself. Certainty, the honest kind, is quieter and stronger. It holds its ground without fists. It stands in rooms without needing rooms to applaud. It elevates everyone it touches because it refuses to take more than truth gives. In that way, clarity is generous. It releases others from the gravity of your hesitation. Consider the real wealth it offers. Fewer detours, fewer apologies for promises made in panic. Fewer nights replaying the same conversations, searching for a missing line. A clear life is not an easy life. It is a legible one. Legibility does not remove trial. It removes waste. And when waste leaves, strength returns. The strength to be precise. The strength to be kind. The strength to be unmoved by spectacle, and moved only by what is right. So hold this definition gently. Clarity is the peace that remains when truth is no longer negotiated. It does not shout, it settles. It does not dazzle, it fits. And when it fits, you don't become louder, you become truer. That is the anatomy, not of a moment, but of a way of moving through the world where your presence answers the very question your words no longer need to ask. Noise does not always arrive as chaos. Often, it dresses like clarity and speaks with borrowed authority. It quotes wisdom without weight. It mimics conviction without conscience. It rushes you, flatters you, or frightens you. Anything to keep you from noticing the one giveaway: friction. Real guidance reduces inner friction, noise multiplies it, and then asks for applause. The first mask of noise is urgency. Urgency claims everything is a fire. Now or never, act or lose everything. But truth does not threaten. Truth can be firm without being frantic. When the message is real, you feel a widening inside, not a tightening. Urgency tries to replace alignment with adrenaline. It wants speed to look like certainty. And when speed becomes your proof, you end up proving only that you were afraid. The second mask is flattery. Noise tells you what you want to hear, that the next step will erase all discomfort, that the path will finally remove the need for patience, that everyone will understand you once you win. But flattery owes you a debt. It cannot pay. It inflates the image of the self while starving the integrity of the soul. Real guidance is kind, yes, but never manipulative. It strengthens humility without shrinking dignity. The third mask is spectacle. It insists on fireworks, on signs so loud they stun the room, Spectacle can entertain, but it rarely nourishes. It makes you dependent on the next dazzling proof instead of deepening your trust in the quiet that never needed a stage. The most transformative truths often step in without costumes, no thunder. Just a fit so exact excuses fall away on their own. The fourth mask is borrowed certainty. This one is subtle. It arrives as perfect phrases, trending slogans, confident tones that sound complete because they are polished. Yet if you hold them for a moment, they ring hollow. Why? Because they were designed to persuade, not to serve. Borrowed certainty is packaging. Real certainty is provision. One sells you a feeling, the other sustains your life. There is also historical noise. Old stories you were given when you were too young to test them. They whisper that your worth must be earned by exhaustion. That rest is a flaw. That complexity is proof of intelligence. These scripts feel familiar, so they pass for truth. But familiarity is not fidelity. A belief can be comfortable and still be untrue. When an idea keeps demanding more of you while giving less back, you are dealing with a script, not a principle. Remember this measure: truth simplifies movement, without cheapening meaning. It doesn't remove challenge. It removes waste. It doesn't make you invulnerable. It makes you honest. And honesty has a power spectacle can't counterfeit. You can sense it in how your voice settles, how your choices align without violence, how your compassion grows even as your boundaries strengthen. Noise is not your enemy to hate. It is static to recognize. It loses power the moment you name it. This is hurry pretending to be courage. This is flattery pretending to be favor. This is spectacle pretending to be revelation. Naming the mask restores the face of what's real, and what's real does not need to win an argument. It needs only to be seen. The world does not merely happen to you. It arranges itself around the tone you carry. That isn't superstition, it's symmetry. Two rooms can hold the same furniture and still feel like different planets if the light changes. In the same way, two lives can hold the same facts and read like different stories when the inner light shifts from scattered to steady. As within, so without is often recited like a charm. It is better understood as a description. Environments respond to coherence the way instruments respond to tuning. Subtly at first, then unmistakably. You don't bend the world by force. You allow the world to stop resisting what finally makes sense. Sense, not noise, has a gravity. When the interior is crowded with hurry, the exterior keeps supplying scenes that justify hurry. When the interior is haunted by doubt, the exterior obliges with puzzles that never resolve. This is not punishment, it's pairing. Like seeks like. Signals call for similar signals. Your posture, wordless, steady, unperformed, broadcasts more loudly than any speech you could memorize. Notice how integrity travels. Clean intent simplifies conversations. Clean boundaries, cool heated rooms. Clean commitments rescue time from confusion's appetite. You do not need to announce these qualities. They announce themselves. The mirror law doesn't reward perfection. It reflects position. Stand where truth stands, and outcomes stop arguing with you. This symmetry works in the quiet as much as in the visible. A heart at peace doesn't need to be loud to move events. It only needs to be consistent. Consistency is the unseen architecture of change, the bridge between inner alignment and outer arrangement. Where inconsistency lives, life keeps stalling at the same corners. Where consistency lives, life begins to meet you halfway. The mirror law is not a tool to control others. It is a reminder to refine yourself. Control strains and frays. Refinement composes and endures. One tries to bend the river. The other chooses the current that already fits the shore. Outcomes approached with patience tend to arrive in forms that last. Outcomes approached with panic arrive brittle, demanding repairs you could have avoided. There is nothing mystical about results that match their roots. Words planted in truth do not need rescue by spectacle. effort anchored in sincerity does not collapse when witnesses leave. Even setbacks mirror the inner state. When you are aligned, a delay becomes instruction instead of insult. A closed door becomes direction instead of doom. The facts didn't change, the reading did. If the outer world has felt like a repeating paragraph, look not for a louder line, but for a clearer lens. Clarity does not edit reality to be softer. It reads reality so precisely that softness returns on its own. Mercy is not the absence of precision. It is precision without cruelty, and when precision meets mercy, the mirror brightens. Hold this quietly. You are not responsible for everything that happens, only for the signal you bring to what happens. That signal, humble, honest, firm, becomes the pattern the world uses to organize around you. Not instantly, not theatrically, faithfully. And faithfulness over time is what turns a scattered life into a legible one. So the mirror law, demystified, reduces to this: inner order invites outer order. The invitation is extended every time you choose truth over theater, patience over panic, dignity over noise. Choose it long enough and often enough, and life begins to answer with doors that fit your hands and paths that match your stride. Not because reality was conquered, but because you finally stopped contradicting it. Hurry looks like speed. Calm is speed. Hurry burns the road with friction, doubling back, second, guessing, apologizing to the same days you already spent. Calm moves once, cleanly, because it carries no argument inside it. When the inner court has reached a verdict, the feet obey. No parade, no panic. Just motion that doesn't leak. This is why some people seem to cross a year in a month, while others circle the same week all season. One travels aligned time. The other travels anxious time. Aligned time stretches. Room appears where breath returns and thought can finish a sentence. Anxious time shrinks. Everything is urgent. Nothing is important. And the soul pays the invoice. Calm is not laziness. It is precision without violence. It refuses the theater of overpromising. It gives the exact effort the moment deserves. No more to flatter fear, no less to escape duty. Calm holds a line, the way a lighthouse holds a line quietly, relentlessly, in all weather. And like true light, it does not argue with ships. It lets ships decide who they are by how they steer. When calm leads, even no sounds merciful, and even yes sounds strong, because both carry the same integrity. Hurry makes noise to convince itself it exists. Calm does not audition. Hurry shouts, "Now or never." Calm answers, "Now, because it's true." One drags you by the collar, the other opens a door. In the physics of a life, doors waste less energy than walls. Every forced step charges interest. Every true step compounds grace. This is why calm often looks slow to spectators and astonishingly effective to those who live inside it. Results appear without the residue of regret. Consider the mathematics of attention. Scattered focus multiplies errors. Multiplied errors demand repairs. Repairs devour time that clarity would have spared. Calm reduces the denominator. It is the unglamorous arithmetic of stewardship. Fewer mistakes, fewer repairs, fewer apologies, more continuity. Continuity is the hidden engine of momentum. What you can do again without fracturing your peace. When peace can repeat, progress stops needing rescue. There is a strength particular to quiet hearts. A strength that doesn't bully outcomes, that doesn't bribe fate with spectacle. It looks like patience from the outside and feels like authority on the inside. Authority, the honest kind, is simply alignment that has stopped trembling. It isn't cruel. It is exact. It doesn't punish the moment for not arriving with fireworks. It receives the moment as it is and upgrades it with truth. Hurry will tempt you with counterfeit courage. Impulses dressed as boldness, noise dressed as necessity. But courage divorced from clarity is only adrenaline with a mask on. Real courage borrows its backbone from order. First conscience, then choice, then step. No pleading with the air, no bargaining with fear. Just the steady knowledge that right action carries its own weather. Firm, breathable, merciful. And here is the quiet paradox. Calm, which looks slow, actually arrives first because it does not restart. It does not keep renegotiating the same decision in new costumes. It does not call 10 friends and collect 11 opinions. It does not waste the afternoon, proving what the morning already knew. Calm signs once in ink that doesn't smear and goes to work. That is how days become chapters and chapters become a life that reads clearly. Let this settle like rain on dry ground. The pace of truth is humane. It stretches you without breaking you. It asks for your whole heart, not your whole health. It leaves room for kindness, for detail, for gratitude. Those luxuries that turn out to be necessities. And in the end, it builds something that doesn't collapse when the spotlight moves. Hurry can impress a crowd. Calm can raise a world. Power that depends on harm is only insecurity with a louder microphone. Clean power does not bruise to prove it exists. It clarifies to let truth breathe. It stands without swagger, acts without threat, and leaves rooms more dignified than it found them. You know you've met it when silence feels safer, even as decisions get sharper. There is no gloating in clean power, only the steadiness that comes from not needing to win at anyone's expense. Cruel power manipulates attention. Clean power stewards attention. One dazzles so no one asks real questions. The other simplifies until the questions answer themselves. You can hear the difference in tone. Cruelty is theatrical, look at me. Clarity is service, look at what is right. Theatrics crave constant fuel. Service runs on conscience, quiet, renewable, unafraid of daylight. Clean power refuses the shortcut of humiliation. It will confront, but it will not degrade. It will set the boundary, but it will not poison the well. Why? Because it understands that harm is expensive. Every unnecessary wound requires interest payments in time, trust, and peace. Strength that pays its debts up front. Truth, patience, precision. Doesn't wake up to collections later. False strength loves extremes. All, or nothing forever, or never. Worship, or war. Clean power prefers proportion. Proportion is mercy in measurement. Enough firmness to guard what matters. Enough gentleness to keep doors from slamming. When proportion leads, apologies become rare and meaningful, not routine and empty. Rooms grow quieter, not colder. People feel safe enough to be honest, not frightened into silence. There is a myth that gentleness is weakness. In reality, gentleness is restraint under command, force that knows how to stop. Anyone can swing, not everyone can sheath. Clean power sheaths easily. It answers provocation with principle, not performance. It steps back from victories that cost integrity. It refuses the bargain of impressive now, regrettable later. Notice how real strength travels through language. It avoids exaggeration because exaggeration mortgages credibility. It avoids contempt because contempt mortgages compassion. It speaks in clear lines and leaves room for dignity on all sides. Even a firm no becomes a form of care when it prevents greater harm. Boundaries, in the hands of clean power, are not walls. They are bridges with weight limits. Clean power is patient with people and strict with patterns. It does not label a person. The problem, it names the behavior and requires better. This precision keeps hearts from hardening and keeps standards from slipping. When standards and kindness meet, trust grows roots, deeper than convenience, deeper than mood. And here is the quiet hallmark. Clean power reconciles courage with humility. Courage without humility becomes pride. Humility without courage becomes avoidance. Together they form a balance that can correct without shaming, lead without trampling, and change course without losing face. That balance is not dramatic, it's durable. Hold this line where you can reach it. Strength is not how loudly you can move the world. Strength is how faithfully you can hold the truth while you move within it. When truth is held faithfully, cruelty loses its costume. Decisions stop arguing with themselves, and the life that unfolds is not just effective, it is honorable. A true boundary is not a wall. It is a promise. I will not let what is untrue govern what is sacred. It is mercy in a line, compassion with a backbone. When a boundary is clean, it does not punish, it prevents. It preserves the space where good things can stay good. Dignity, trust, the slow, growing garden of peace. A cruel no tries to dominate. A merciful no tries to protect. The sound may be similar. The spirit is not. Love without boundaries exhausts itself into resentment. Boundaries without love calcify into pride. Real care walks the middle road. Gentle in tone, exact in meaning, steady in consequence. It doesn't need to make a scene to make a point. It doesn't auction off its values for approval. It simply states what is right and keeps standing there, even when applause is absent. Notice the difference between control and clarity. Control demands do as I say so I can feel safe. Clarity declares this is the safe shape of our peace, and I will honor it, even if it costs me convenience. Control surveils, clarity shepherds. One shrinks everyone in the room. The other invites everyone to rise into honesty. Boundaries are not a verdict on a person's worth. They are a verdict on what patterns your life can host without breaking. A clean boundary never needs cruelty for enforcement. It needs consistency. Consistency is quiet strength. No spikes, no collapses, no surprises. When your word keeps its own weather, people learn your climate. Respectful conduct is welcomed. Harm is declined. Not with spectacle, with steadiness. Even a soft voice, when consistent, becomes a lighthouse. There is a kindness in the right no. It saves time from false promises. It saves hope from impractical bargains. It saves relationships from the erosion of unspoken truth. The right no can be an act of love precisely because it refuses to lie. A yes that betrays your conscience is not kindness. It is delay. Delay collects interest, and the invoice is paid in peace. Boundaries also dignify you in your own eyes. When you protect what is entrusted to you, your time, your health, your devotion, you confirm that these gifts matter. Self-respect deepens quietly. Desperation evaporates. Decisions become simpler, not because life is small, but because the worth of your soul is not up for negotiation. When that is settled, arguments lose their appetite. Remember this measure. A holy boundary will make you firmer and kinder at once. Firmer because the line is clear. Kinder because you no longer need sharpness to defend it. You can say, "This is not acceptable," without contempt. You can say, "This is the limit," without humiliation. You can step back without turning your back. Mercy and truth meet, neither diluted, both intact. Carry the sentence where your heart can find it when the moment tests you. My peace is not for sale, and my love is not a loophole. When that settles, you stop arguing with storms. You stop rehearsing speeches for those determined to misunderstand. You let your boundary be your biography, quiet, clean, unwavering. And you let your life answer what your mouth no longer needs to fight. Words are not decorations. They are architecture. A sentence can be scaffolding that helps a soul stand, or a spark that turns a room to ash. We live in houses built by tongues, promises that hold, rumors that rot beams, quiet blessings that make mornings lighter without anyone knowing why. Speak long enough and your vocabulary becomes a neighborhood. You will have to live there. Choose carefully what you're willing to come home to. Inflated language feels powerful in the moment, because exaggeration borrows tomorrow's credibility to pay for today's applause. It spends truth like small coins and wonders why respect grows poor. Clean speech refuses the loan. It says only what it can carry without trembling. Not blandness, precision. There is a dignity in exact words. They don't crowd, they don't claw, they don't bruise. They fit the moment like tailored cloth. There is a tone that harms even when the facts are right. Contempt. Contempt turns truth into a weapon and then pretends the wound is proof of honesty. But truth without mercy is not larger, it is lopsided. Mercy without truth is not kinder, it is vague. Put them together, and words begin to heal as they reveal. A sentence can correct without shaming, set a boundary without breaking a voice, close a door without slamming it. That balance is not theatrical, it is trustworthy. Gossip promises belonging at the price of someone else's dignity. It buys fellowship with counterfeit currency, and the counterfeits always return to the spender. What we say about others chisels our own name, first on their hearts, then on ours. Even silence can be honorable when it refuses to wrench your mouth to harm. Restraint is not weakness, it is guardianship. When you protect the absent, you become safe to trust in the present. Oaths are heavy. A vow spoken for show trembles under weather. A vow spoken from conscience carries its own shelter. Do not multiply promises to replace integrity. One clear word that stands is richer than a choir of performances. Let your language keep the climate of your soul. Steady daylight. No sudden storms. When people can predict the weather of your speech, they rest around you. Rest is rare. Becoming a source of it is a noble craft. Pain will sometimes ask for volume. Yet volume is not the same as force, and quiet is not the same as surrender. The strongest words are often the simplest ones told at the right temperature. This is true. This is kind. This must stop. Temper the flame. Heat can make steel. It can also warp it. The line between forge and fire is tone. Be gentle with names. Names carry futures. Call a child, reckless enough times, and you will hear the echo in their choices. Call a colleague, faithful when they are. And faithfulness grows taller in their shadow. Words seed identities. Identities grow behaviors. Behaviors rewrite days. The harvest was hidden in the syllables all along, if you must name. Name what elevates truth without flattering vanity. Some phrases are instruments. Thank you is a tuning fork. Rooms align to it. I was wrong is a key. Doors open to it. I forgive you is a balm. Old scar tissue softens around it. These are not slogans, they are repairs. Spoken cleanly, they return lost time and make hard roads walkable again. Spoken cynically, they widen the fracture. Sincerity is the voltage that makes meaning travel. Guard your metaphors. Images are shortcuts to the heart. A reckless image can lead a whole life down the wrong street. If you describe the world as a war, don't be surprised when you treat every difference like an enemy. If you describe the world as a garden, effort becomes cultivation instead of conquest. Perspectives are not mere opinions, they are weather systems. Silence, too, has grammar. A pause can be kindness when haste would harm. Withholding a reply can be wisdom when reply would feed confusion. But silence must never become a disguise for cowardice when harm advances. The moral sentence is a spoken one. The art is to know when quiet protects and when quiet permits. Conscience knows, language should follow. Hold this measure near, say less, mean more. Let your syllables carry weight that your posture can afford. Let your yes be a shelter and your no be a bridge with a posted limit. Let your praise be clean, specific enough to be true, brief enough to be humble, and let your correction be surgical. Cut only what poisons, spare what can heal. In the end, the worth of our speech is seen in what it leaves behind. Does your voice make courage easier for others? Do your words calm the sprint in anxious rooms? Do they lift the eyes without lifting your pride? If so, you are building, not for applause, but for endurance. The world has enough sparks. Be a hearth. Quiet confidence is not a costume. It's the afterglow of truth. It doesn't arrive with drums. It arrives with steadiness. The world may still be noisy, but inside, the signal holds. You no longer chase signs because your life has become legible. You move without clenching, you speak without burning, you choose without bargaining. That's the difference between wanting a sign and becoming one. And yes, it isn't subtle. Think of what falls away when clarity stays. The rehearsed apologies, the glitter of borrowed certainty, the heavy theater of pretending in their place. Clean language, merciful standards, boundaries that protect what is sacred. You stop performing power and begin carrying it with gentleness. You stop collecting louder moments and start living truer ones. Even your silence starts telling the truth kindly. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. Honest with your time. Honest with your word. Honest with the way you treat the hearts that trust you. When truth and mercy stand together, confusion loses. Rooms feel safer. Decisions stop shaking. Peace is not an escape. It is alignment that can endure weather. Carry this vow like a lantern. I will not trade what is right for what is loud. Let that sentence choose your pace. Let it guard your speech. Let it keep your dignity within reach on the days the world forgets its own. You don't have to announce who you are becoming. Let your consistency introduce you. Let your presence do the speaking. Calm, exact, compassionate. If this message met you at the exact moment you needed it, let the echo continue. Save this for the days that try to blur you. Share it with someone whose heart is tired of noise. And if you're walking this road with me, subscribe now and turn on the bell so you don't miss what comes next. More depth, more clarity, more strength without cruelty. In the comments write, I choose clarity over noise. Not as a badge, as a reminder. Your words will lift others who read them. You were never waiting for proof. You were waiting for coherence. Now you carry it. Walk gently, stand firmly, and let the life that mirrors you back be the life you were always meant to live.